Look, I think it's a great question on intellectual property. I think you're absolutely right. I think we need to be vigorous in protecting intellectual property. I think it is, if you look at one of the areas in which the United States has excelled, and has excelled the entire history of our country, it is in innovation. It is in developing new products, new intellectual property. One of the disturbing patterns we've got is we've got all over the world nations stealing our intellectual property. You know, before I was elected to the Senate, I was a lawyer in private practice, and I ran the Supreme Court practice at a large law firm. One of the cases that I litigated actually in the middle of the Supreme Court campaign, or the Senate campaign rather, was an intellectual property case where I represented a large housewares manufacturer that had developed a deep fryer, and a company had purchased that deep fryer in China, in Hong Kong actually, and it was a Chinese company that purchased it in Hong Kong, disassembled it, reverse engineered it, and then just stole the intellectual property and sold it for substantially cheaper in the U.S. market, made very substantial sums of money. And in the middle of the Senate campaign, I argued the case in front of the U.S. Supreme Court on behalf of the intellectual property owner, and ended up winning a substantial victory, 6-3 in favor of the intellectual property holder and upholding their verdict against him. I think that is critical, and I think we need to work hard to keep doing that. But I think we also need to focus on the environment that allows small businesses to thrive and to prosper. You know, one of the most frustrating aspects of being in the Senate, I've been there now right about 5 months. In the 5 months, we have spent, weeks on guns and trying to take away people's Second Amendment rights. We've spent weeks on, we're in the middle of the Farm Bill right now, and subsidizing giant agricultural corporations because we know that giant companies need the federal dollar to survive. We've spent virtually no time actually talking about growth. Talking about tax reform, talking about regulatory reform, talking about getting the economy going. Now, we did have one exception. The Senate stopped everything to pass a $23 billion new tax on small internet retailers, which I think was terrible. I spoke out very, very loudly against. I hope the House votes it down. But it's a great example of how this place is dysfunctional. You look at every poll that is done across this country, the number one issue for Americans by 50, 60, 70, 80% is jobs in the economy. The U.S. Senate spends virtually no time talking about jobs in the economy. If we can reduce the burdens on small businesses, and the critical thing about small businesses, 2/3 of all new jobs come from small businesses. The economist Joseph Schumpeter referred to creative destruction. That's the dynamism in our economy, is it doesn't come from the giant corporations. Look, God love them. I don't have anything against big corporations, but they don't need government helping them out. And what has made our economy different is that one guy in his garage can start a company that topples the giant corporation. And it's that creative destruction, that dynamism, that's unique. It is why, if you look by the 1830s, the United States already had the highest per capita income in the world. By the 1830s, what our free market system allows you to do. You look at economic mobility. Give you a very interesting statistic. 1999, if you look at the distribution of socioeconomic status, you look at the bottom quintile, the bottom 20%. 10 years later, 60% of the people in the bottom quintile had risen up. At the same time, of the top quintile, the top 20%, 40% of them had moved down. There has never been a country with the economic mobility that comes from the dynamism where your success depends not on who your parents are, not on the benefits you're given, but on your talents and your hard work and on the content of your character. And that's what I think we need to be fighting for and explaining.